Picture this, a red Ferrari zipping through Hawaiian roads, a mustache so legendary it deserves its own credit, and a private investigator who somehow solves crimes between surf sessions. That's Magnum PI, the ultimate 80s cocktail of action, charm, and questionable fashion. But behind the aloha shirts and smooth theme song are secrets you probably never knew. From missed movie roles to surprise guest stars, Magnum's world is full of shocking trivia. Today we're counting down 18 of the wildest, weirdest, and most surprising facts about Magnum PI. Buckle up. The mustache ride starts now. Number 18. Most 80s TV shows avoided talking about Vietnam, unless it was for a very special episode. But Magnum PI broke that mold. Magnum, TC, and Rick were all Vietnam vets, and the show treated their service with surprising respect. Instead of stereotypes, the series showed veterans as complex, funny, and fully human.
I'd give anything to see the look on that turkey's face when he finds out what's really in it, too.
For a mainstream network drama, that was a big deal. It gave audiences a different perspective at a time when the war was still fresh in memory. Magnum wasn't just a private eye in paradise, he was a veteran working through real scars. Number 17. Imagine Magnum trading his Hawaiian shirts for a fedora. It almost happened. Tom Selleck was George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's first choice for Indiana Jones. The role was his, until CBS reminded him he had a little commitment called Magnum PI. Because of scheduling conflicts, Selleck had to pass, and the whip went to Harrison Ford instead. Ironically, the Magnum pilot's production was delayed by a strike, meaning Selleck technically could have filmed Raiders of the Lost Ark. Timing is everything, and in this case, it meant Indiana Jones got a new face and a different mustache. Number 16. Ask anyone to hum the Magnum PI theme and you'll get that punchy Mike Post classic. But here's the twist, that wasn't the original theme. Early episodes actually used a completely different score by Ian Freebairn Smith, a jazzy, laid-back tune that felt more like a tropical vacation than a detective show. Audiences weren't exactly thrilled, and CBS swapped it out for the now iconic Mike Post and Pete Carpenter composition. The new theme was so good it practically became a character itself. Lesson learned, Magnum might change shirts every episode, but his music better stay consistent. Number 15. Magnum's swanky digs weren't just a Hollywood backlot. Robin's Nest, the oceanfront estate where he lived rent-free, was a real property on Oahu's South Shore. Complete with a private lagoon and turtle pond, the mansion was as much a star of the show as the Ferrari. In reality, the estate was owned by the Hawaiian businessman and philanthropist who leased it to the production. Sadly, the house was demolished in 2018, but for nearly a decade it stood as a dream vacation home on primetime TV. Magnum's life, free Ferrari, free mansion, free mustache, not too shabby. Number 14, that iconic red Ferrari 308 GTS, a nightmare for Tom Selleck. At 6'4", Selleck barely fit behind the wheel. The crew had to modify the driver's seat so he could squeeze in without looking like he was folding laundry with his knees. Even then, filming driving scenes was tricky. Some shots required clever camera angles so Selleck wouldn't look like a clown in a go-kart. Despite the discomfort, the Ferrari became Magnum's ultimate accessory. Forget the mustache. Nothing screamed 80s cool louder than Magnum roaring down Hawaiian highways in a car he could barely sit in. Number 13. If you think Magnum PI was just Magnum, Higgins, and the lads, think again. The show attracted some serious star power. Frank Sinatra made his final television appearance on the series, playing, what else? A retired cop out for justice. Sharon Stone showed up before becoming Hollywood royalty. Even Orson Welles lent his voice as Robin Masters, the never-seen estate owner, adding a layer of mystery with just a few lines. Magnum wasn't just primetime fluff, it was a magnet for icons. Imagine Magnum solving mysteries while Sinatra growls advice. That's 80s TV gold. Number 12. The original pitch for Magnum PI painted him as a suave James Bond knockoff. Rich, perfect, and unrelatable. Enter Tom Selleck, who pushed back hard. He wanted Magnum to be flawed, funny, and above all, human. Selleck convinced the producers to make him a guy who borrowed milk from neighbors, struck out with women, and talked to the audience in voiceover like a buddy telling stories. That shift made the show click. Magnum wasn't an untouchable super spy. He was the everyman detective with a Ferrari and a killer tan, and audiences loved him for it. Number 11. Before reboots were Hollywood's favorite hobby, there were plans for a Magnum PI feature film, and not just any script. Tom Clancy, the techno-thriller legend, was reportedly working on it. The idea floated around in the early 90s, but never left development limbo. Rumor has it, the story would have leaned into espionage, pushing Magnum closer to that Bond-style action hero the show originally resisted. Unfortunately, studio hesitation and timing killed the project. Imagine Magnum trading his Ferrari for a submarine. It could have been wild, or maybe just really damp. Either way, we'll never know. We've covered some wild facts, but which Magnum fact floored you the most so far? Drop it in the comments, and if you're enjoying this trip down Hawaiian memory lane, hit that subscribe and like button. Magnum would approve. Number 10. Hawaii wasn't just a pretty backdrop, it was television real estate. When Hawaii 5-0 wrapped its original run in 1980, CBS already had a full production setup on the islands. Enter Magnum PI. The show inherited crews, studios, and even some locations from 5-0. In fact, the pilot episode was shot using leftover resources from the older series. It was less, let's reinvent the wheel, and more, let's slap a mustache on it and keep filming. The connection ran so deep that crossover episodes were seriously considered but never happened. Still, Magnum's world was built on 5-0's foundations, Aloha spirit included. Number 9. Being Magnum came with a sweet Ferrari, but it also came with a brutal shooting schedule. Tom Selleck's rising movie career often clashed with the demands of the show. To keep things running, the writers sometimes shifted the spotlight to secondary characters like Higgins, TC, or Rick. Entire episodes were built around them, letting Selleck film fewer scenes while juggling outside projects. It was a clever workaround that kept the show moving without burning out its star. Fans got deeper dives into the supporting cast, and Selleck still managed to sneak in films like 3 Men and a Baby. Not bad multitasking for TV's busiest mustache. Number 8. Jonathan Higgins, the uptight caretaker of Robin's Nest, was pure British snobbery.
Calls with the girls' locations, I'm calling the police.
Higgins, first we make sure the girls are safe, then we get the painting without involving the police.
What?
TC and I have it all worked out, don't worry.
Good, then you can explain your plan to the police.
Ex-Sergeant Major, Oxford accent, Union Jack practically stitched to his soul. But here's the kicker. Actor John Hillerman was from Texas. That accent, 100% acting. Hillerman nailed the role so well that many viewers assumed he really was a stiff upper lip Englishman. In reality, he grew up in Denison, Texas and had a career full of varied roles before donning the tweed and monocle vibes of Higgins. The performance was so convincing he even won an Emmy. Not bad for a Texan pretending to scold Magnum about muddy shoes. Number 7. TV theme songs don't usually chart on the radio, but Magnum wasn't your average show. The Mike Post and Pete Carpenter theme, the one fans still hum today, actually broke into the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 25 in 1982. That's right. Magnum's mustache had a soundtrack that competed with pop hits of the era. You could buy it on vinyl, cassette, or just blast it from your TV while pretending your Toyota was a Ferrari. The theme's driving horns and bass line captured the show's mix of cool and adventure. In the 80s, Magnum wasn't just must-see TV, he was radio ready. Number 6. Magnum's fiercest rivals weren't criminals. They were 2 Dobermans named Zeus and Apollo, or as Higgins called them, the Lads. In reality, multiple dog pairs rotated through the roles, since filming required steady temperaments and lots of patience. While the show made them look like Magnum's constant nemeses, off camera they were reportedly sweet and well trained. The dogs quickly became fan favorites, almost stealing scenes with their growls and well-timed chases. And really, what's more 80s than a Ferrari, a mustache, and 2 Dobermans patrolling a beachfront estate? Magnum may have lived rent-free, but the Lads made sure he never got too comfortable. Number 5. Every TV detective has a calling card. Columbo had his raincoat, Kojak had his lollipops, and Magnum had a whole starter pack of quirks. His Detroit Tigers cap, a nod to Selleck's real-life love for the team. The Rolex GMT Master on his wrist. It belonged to his father in the show's backstory, grounding Magnum as a sentimental guy beneath the swagger. Then there were the Hawaiian shirts. Loud, colorful, and as much a uniform as any trench coat. Add in his constant inner monologues, breaking the fourth wall just enough to feel like he was letting viewers in on the the joke. Together, these details turn Magnum from just another TV PI into an icon with personality. Number 4. At first, CBS didn't plan for Magnum PI to be set in Hawaii. The choice was purely practical. When Hawaii 5-0 ended in 1980, the network still had production facilities, sets, and crews on the islands. Rather than shut it all down, CBS decided to build their next big detective show right there. But what started as a budget move turned into genius branding. Hawaii gave Magnum a unique look, beaches, waterfalls, jungle chases, and made the show feel like a vacation with car chases. The tropical backdrop wasn't just eye candy, it was a character shaping the show's vibe and setting it apart from gritty mainland cop dramas. Number 3. Shared universes weren't invented by Marvel. Back in the 80s, CBS toyed with the idea of crossing Magnum PI over with other shows. The biggest almost happened? A team up with Murder, She Wrote? That's right, Jessica Fletcher was nearly sleuthing side by side with Magnum. Scripts were drafted, but scheduling and tone clashes killed the crossover before it aired. There were also whispers of spin-offs, including one featuring Magnum's daughter, but none got past development. Still, the show couldn't resist the occasional nod to other TV detectives, reminding fans Magnum's world was bigger than his Ferrari. Imagine Jessica Fletcher trying to keep up on those Hawaiian highways. Number 2. Season 7 was supposed to be the end. Magnum was shot, walked into the light, and said goodbye. Literally. The finale wrapped things up with him heading off to the afterlife, a bold and emotional curtain call, but fans weren't having it. Outrage poured in, and CBS realized they had killed off one of their most bankable heroes. So they pulled a classic TV move, a resurrection. Season 8 brought Magnum back, explaining the death as more of a near-death hallucination. The revival gave the show a proper farewell season. It wasn't the first time TV cheated death, but it might be one of the most fan-driven. Magnum lived because viewers refused to bury him. Number 1. The most shocking fact isn't a cameo or a car, and it's how Tom Selleck reshaped the entire show. Producers originally wanted a glossy James Bond knockoff, rich, suave, untouchable. But Selleck insisted Magnum should be real. A guy who got sunburned, borrowed milk from neighbors, lost fights, and doubted himself. That change was radical for 80s TV heroes, who usually solved everything with a punch and a one-liner. Magnum's flaws made him likable. He could chase bad guys one moment and question his own choices the next. Selleck's push for vulnerability turned the show from disposable fluff into something deeper. A character study wrapped in palm trees and car chases. In the end, Magnum wasn't larger than life. He was human, and that's why he lasted. So there you have it. 18 facts that prove Magnum PI was more than just a flashy Ferrari and a world-class mustache. It was a show built on unexpected choices, making Vietnam vets heroes, turning production leftovers into TV gold, and letting a Texan play the most British man alive. Magnum worked because it balanced action with heart and comedy with vulnerability. That balance is why the show still holds up decades later. Now it's your turn. Which of these shocked you most, and which Magnum moment still lives rent-free in your brain? Let me know below. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, stay nostalgic, and remember, life's always better with a Ferrari and a mustache.